Good afternoon. Welcome to Live Lunch here on WKMS. I'm Tracy Ross, and I'm really pleased to welcome back our friend Lou Jeton to the program. Lou, you're playing some John Prine for us. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys been doing?
We've been doing well. I think this is our first live lunch since we had Wayne Harper on back in March of last year. So it's been a while for us. How have you kept yourself busy over the last year and a half or so?
Well, I've been playing a lot at home.
Like a lot of people.
Yeah, but when everything happened and everything shut down, that's what I said. You know what? I might as well work on my finger picking and work on my playing and stuff and use that time constructively to woodshed. And so that's what I did. I took lessons actually for about 8 months or so, trying to get better on my finger picking from a great teacher in Paducah, Cheryl Yates. And she really helped me out a lot. And because I knew that when things came back, it's probably going to be mostly solo kind of stuff starting out. And so I really worked hard on that. And I was working on doing a kind of a John Prine thing before everything happened, because when I noticed when I would be playing out, everybody really responded to the John Prine songs, and I said, you know what, I should just do a set of nothing but John Prine stuff, and see how people like it, and it really is gone over well, yeah.
Has John Prine always been an artist that you admired and listened to and enjoyed?
Oh yeah. I always liked the way he's just genius, to me, and a lot of other people that are singers or songwriters or whatever, and they look at how he put things together. He always had a real unique way of looking at things, an angle that you wouldn't think of that might surprise you, and so I've admired him since way back, the first time I heard him back in the 70s,
And we were talking a little while ago, and you said somebody called him, was it the Mark Twain of songwriters?
Yeah, Rolling Stone said he was the Mark Twain of this generation, or the Samuel Clemens of this generation, and I think that's a pretty fair description.
Well, as a longtime performer and a songwriter yourself, have you figured out what his special sauce was, what it is about his lyrics that made it so easy for everybody to relate to him?
I have not, and I don't believe many people have. I don't think anybody has. It's one of those things to where there's not a technique, there's not a scientific way, put this together and put this together and put this together. It especially the most genius stuff, it just flows, And there was times when I read that he would be trying to write a certain song, and then it wound up coming out with something completely different many times. In fact, Space Monkey was one of the songs like that. He got together with another songwriter, and I apologize, I can't remember his name. They were going to write a 3-chord love song, and then somehow they got talking about the Russians had shot this monkey up into space, and what if the monkey went through a black hole and just came back down today, and everything changed and everything in the world and everything, and the next thing you know, you got Space Monkey,
Well, you've got a couple of Prine songs I think you want to start us off with. What's the first one you're going to play for us today?
The first one I'm going to do is Paradise. And I do want to apologize in advance. I've got a summer, I woke up with a summer cold about a day ago, and so I'm still real scratchy and everything. So, but we're gonna try and what do they call that? Push on, as it were.
All right.
But I'll do the best I can. That's all you can do. When I was a child, my family would travel down to western Kentucky, where my parents were born. There's a backwards old town that's often remembered, so many times that my memory's worn. Oh, Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay. But I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train done hauled it away. Sometimes we travel right down the Green River, little band abandoned old prison down by Avery Hill, where the air smelled like snakes. We'd shoot with our pistols, but empty pop bottles was all that we'd kill. Oh, Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train done hauled it away. Then the coal company came with the world's largest shovel, and they tortured the timber and they stripped all the land. Well, they dug for their coal till the land was forsaken, and they wrote it all down to the progress of man. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train done hauled it away. When I die, take my ashes, flow down the Green River, let me soar on up to the Rochester Dam. I'll be halfway to heaven with paradise waiting, 5 miles away from wherever I am. So Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River, where paradise lay? And I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train done hauled it away. Peabody's coal train done hauled it away.
All right. Is that his most famous song, Lou?
It depends on who you ask. Everybody's got favorites, you know, and it's one of, obviously when he plays it in Kentucky, you know, it's one of the big ones, you know. There were several years ago when he played at the Carson Center, which was a great show. Leon Redbone was the opening act. Of course, we lost Leon Redbone in the past year too, you know. And yeah, it was a big hit when he played it then. That one and of course and Space Monkey, because he actually talks about Paducah in Space Monkey. So that's another one. Yeah. But some people like that one. Some people like Hello in There. It just depends on what resonates, you know. He's got so many fans, and everybody's got favorite songs. Or some people like me, it's hard to pick one out that is the favorite. You know?
Well, I think the one that you're about to play is a favorite for a whole lot of people, and I think it spoke to a lot of people's experience coming home from a pretty tough war.
Yeah, and this is one that too I think kind of put him on the map, because you almost wonder, you know, if we would have ever heard of John Prine if it hadn't have been for Roger Ebert, the longtime film critic for the Chicago Tribune. It was back in 1970, 71, somewhere in there. Ebert had gone to review a movie, and the movie was so bad, he didn't stay. He said, I got to get out of here, and he left. And he walked down the street, and he said, what decided he wanted to get a beer? So he walked in a little joint called The Fifth Peg, and that's where John Prine was in there playing, and he had started playing there on open mic nights, you know. And of course, there's just a few people, hardly anybody's paying attention to him, but Ebert was mesmerized by the songs. He played Paradise, he played Sam Stone, he played Angel from Montgomery, and so Ebert, instead of going back and writing a column about this bad movie, he decided to write a column about John Prine and a review of John Prine, and it was just you know, a glowing review. And that was one of the things he said, that you know, he's unassuming. It's almost like he backs into the spotlight. He's a good guitar player, but he's not overwhelming, you know. And said, and then when he starts playing his songs, and even the drunks at the bar, you know, if they listen to the lyrics long enough, then he's got you know. And one of those in particular was Sam Stone. At any rate, John Prine credits that a lot with his success. He said, before then, that was when he was still carrying the mail, He said, nobody knew who I was. And he said, after that column came out, everything changed, The line started going around the block, and then word spread about John Prine. And within a year, he had recorded and put out his first album. And then he got nominated for the Best Artist, the Grammy, and it kind of just took off from there. The talent was always there, but it was just a matter of being at the right place at the right time, heard by the right person, and you see that a lot in life, not only with music, but with different things too.
You gonna play Sam Stone for us?
I'm gonna try. Sam Stone came home to his wife and family after serving in the conflict overseas. And the time that he served had shattered all his nerves, left a little shrapnel in his knee. But the morphine eased the pain, and the grass grew around his brain, and it gave him all the confidence he lacked. With a purple heart and a monkey on his back, there's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing, I suppose. Little pictures have big ears, don't stop and count the years. Sweet songs never last too long on broken radios. Sam Stone's welcome home didn't last too long. Went to work where he spent his last dime. Sammy took to stealing when he got that empty feeling for $100 habit without overtime. And the gold rolled through his veins like 1,000 railroad trains. He's just minding the hours that he chose, while the kids ran around wearing other people's clothes. There's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing, I suppose. Little pictures have big ears, don't stop and count the years. Sweet songs never last too long on broken radios. Sam Stone was alone when he popped his last balloon, climbing walls while sitting in a chair. Well, he played his last request when a room just smelled like death and an overdose hovering in the air. But life had lost its fun, there was nothing to be done but trade his house that he bought on the GI Bill for a flag grade casket on local Heroes Hill. There's a hole in Daddy's arm where all the money goes. Jesus Christ died for nothing, I suppose. Little pictures have big ears, don't stop to count the years. Sweet songs never last too long on broken radios.
You're listening to Live Lunch with Lou Giton here on Sounds Good, and we'll be back just after this with more music and conversation.
It's Friday, August 27th. Kentucky's August 26th report on new COVID-19 cases included 279 for Purchase counties and 196 for Pennyroyal counties. You can see more COVID-19 information and an updated report by the end of the day at kycovid19.ky.gov. Calvert City hosts a city calendar photo contest now through October. The calendar's theme is Calvert City Life, and each participant can submit up to 10 horizontal photos taken within city limits. Learn more at calvertcity.com. The Graves County Cooperative Extension Office hosts a crochet club Monday at 10 a.m. All skill levels are welcome. There's more information about this and other local events on the community calendar at wkms.org.
Bumper stickers, t-shirts, socks, and books. There are a lot of thank you gifts when you give this fall.
But what's the biggest gift for your $5 or $10 a month?
It's keeping a non-commercial public radio service on the air for your community when they need it most.
When you invest in WKMS, you keep news, arts, and music on the air for you, but also for everyone else in your region.
Keep the facts and culture coming and give today at WKMS.org.
Support for local music on Sounds Good comes from Just Hamburgers of Paducah. With call-ahead and drive-through service at both locations, Just Hamburgers serves locally sourced and made-to-order burgers, along with sides, desserts, and more, 6 days a week. There's more about their weekly special burger on Facebook at Just Hamburgers. Thanks for support from the Yeiser Arts Center, presenting Yaktoberfest. It's a 2-day outdoor music festival celebrating the arts at Carson Park in Paducah, October 1st and 2nd, with over a dozen acts, including Lucero, Pokey Lafarge, Nappy Roots, Kelsey Walden, and more. Tickets support the mission of the Yeiser. Ticket information at theyeiser.org. You're listening to Live Lunch here on Sounds Good. I'm Tracy Ross. Pleased to welcome back Lou Jeton, and this time Lou's playing a selection of John Prine covers. And Lou, is it next Thursday that you've got the MCLIB performance?
Yeah, it's upstairs at the McCracken County Library. And it's changed a little bit.
Yeah, it went from indoors to outdoors to now virtual,
yeah,
right?
It started out like normal. We're going to do it indoors upstairs. I did had another program that I do called The History of the Blues, and I did that one there, I guess, a couple of years ago. And so we were going to do this one up there, and then about 2 weeks ago they got a hold of me and said, hey, how do you feel about doing this outside in the garden? And I said, oh, yeah, that's fine, and okay, we may do that, And then a couple of days ago, they go, well, we've been talking about it and everything, and we think better just do it virtually. And so it'll be live streamed, I guess, on their Facebook page. And I said, yeah, that's fine, because, it's, you do what you got to do. You take your precautions and you do what you got to do. And I mean, I know that the hospitals in the area are strained, between their regular patients and then the other ones. And so, you just take precautions, and I think it's just a common sense precaution,
And tonight, your performance will not be virtual, right?
No, we'll be live in person tonight at Hot August Blues Festival.
And tell us about who you're playing with.
That's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to open for the legendary Shack Shakers. And, of course, J.D. Wilkes, who's the front man for the Shack Shakers, started out in my band. He was a member of my band before I was. He was one of the original members. And I don't even know if I can remember all the original members, but it was J.D., Lane Hendrickson was the front man singer. And then you had Jonas Cowan out of Evansville. And, Jeff Statler on bass he's out of Cape Girardeau now. And that was the original members of that band. And Eric Eicholtz on drums. Eric is the only original member of the band that's left from then, remember they started back in like 92. So you're talking about 29 years. And unfortunately Eric's had a pinched nerve, so he's not going to be able to play with us tonight. So we've got a guy filling in on drums tonight. But we're going to open for the Shack Shakers. And the cool thing about the Shack Shakers is when he still came back and played, JD still come back and played with me some, but then he started his own band, and they were all students here at Murray. And at first they were called Grease Fire, and then they changed the name to the Shack Shakers, then the legendary Shack Shakers. And so the original Shack Shakers are going to be playing tonight at Hot August, and that's JD along with Nathan Brown, Todd Anderson, and Brian Berriman. And so that's going to be kind of cool. It's and then I think we're supposed to have like a jam session after the Shack Shakers. We'll see how much singing I do. I don't know. I may get better as I go through the day. I may, get more of the crud out. I don't know. Hopefully so.
Well, you know, it's funny. You've got the sniffles a little bit, but it's kind of thrown your voice into a slightly higher register, and you kind of sound prine-ish on these songs. So if that's what you intended, great job on it.
That wasn't what I intended.
Well, you got for us now, Lou.
And then when I went, like the last song I did, I barely got to the end of it. So you may have some of that. I don't know. But like I always said, I shall do my best. This is another one of the ones that that Roger Ebert picked up on when he saw him at the Fifth Peg there in Chicago. And if you're like me, the first time you heard it, it was not John Prine doing it.
It was Emmylou.
Well, Bonnie Raitt.
And Bonnie Raitt, yeah.
Bonnie Raitt probably was. I think it was the first one I heard doing it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And since then, it's been covered so many times. Susan Tedeschi does a great cover of it, and
mostly female artists actually that cover it.
Yeah, it's written kind of from a female point of view, and so there you go. So it's a natural fit, yeah. But Angel from Montgomery. I'm an old woman named after my mother. Old man is another child grown old. Dreams were lightning, thunder desire. Old house would have burned down a long time ago. Make me an angel, flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing I can hold on to. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go. When I was younger, had a little cowboy, wasn't much to look at, just a free rambling man. That was a long time, no matter how I tried. The years flow by like a broken down dam. Make me an angel who flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing I can hold on to. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go. There's flies in the kitchen, I can hear them buzzing. I ain't done nothing since I woke up today. How the hell can a person go to work in the morning, come home in the evening, and have nothing to say? Make me an angel, flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing I can hold on to. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go.
Lou Giton here on Live Lunch playing John Prine, his classic Angel from Montgomery. I don't know how you narrowed down his many, many songs to just the ones you were going to play. I mean, talk about a treasure trove.
That's the hardest part, actually. They wanted a 45-minute program, and I said, oh, man. And so I wanted to do the first three that he played, that Roger Ebert first heard him, and then a couple of more of the old classics, and then kind of wind my way around to the last stuff that he did, When I Get to Heaven and I Remember Everything, which was the last song that he wrote,
This is Lou taking a drink. There's really no way to feel like every time you take a drink of water, but you're being a trooper up here with your voice and doing a great job. Are we going to do Hello in there? Is that one you're still going to play?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, and that's another favorite of a lot of people. And it's funny because I was reading when he talked about it. At first, the first idea he had, we talked about how songs can morph, and he had like a hollow log, and he leans over and says, hello in there, hello in there inside the log, And then it morphed around to being about older people, because he remembered when he would help a buddy of his with a paper route in Chicago, and he would deliver papers to, they call it assisted living now. Back then they called it the old folks home, And he was struck by, he always liked older people, but he was struck by how some of them would carry on about him delivering the paper like he was their nephew or he was their grandson, And so I made it kind of a sweet transition with that. And there's one part in it when he talks about, I'll pick up the phone and I'll call my old friend Rudy, And I saw a thing later on where somebody asked him, said, well, how did you arrive at the name Rudy, And he said, well, the woman that lived across from him back in the day, she had a dog named Rudy. And so he thought that would be a cool name for that. So there you go.
It seemed like he found, like, everywhere he looked, there was a songwriting opportunity there. You couldn't, like, whistle around him or say anything, and he turned it into a song. So.
Well, the one thing about it is, and I think that set him apart, was that he would notice things that other people would not, He was all the time, going deeper than just the surface, He, excuse me, and there's another song that later on that, we may do that it kind of goes along those lines. And I saw an interview actually one time with his first wife, and she was talking about how all over the house there were scraps of paper, with like a line written on it, and those of us who've written songs, we can relate to that. Now I do it more, on the phone, but instead of leaving the paper scrap, but I still have notebooks and legal pads out where I write a line or two, or I'll sing a line or two into my recorder so that I won't forget. Because if you've tried to write songs and everything, you know that you'll be doing something, you'll a tune will pop in your head or a phrase will pop in your head, and you go, man, that's really cool. I'm gonna go write that down. No, I'll remember it. I'll write it down here, when I get up in the morning or something like that. And then you know what happens?
Gone.
It's gone, yeah. That's why you talk about a pair, or John Prine, but that's what Keith Richards said. He always used to have a thing by his bed to write down stuff and record stuff so he wouldn't forget it. Now, you could see Keith Richards forgetting stuff.
Absolutely,
you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, this is the other one. And Keith Richards is going to outlive everybody, I'm convinced at this point. We had an apartment in the city. Me and Loretta like living there. It's been years since the kids have grown, life of their own, left us alone. John and Linda live in Omaha. Joe is somewhere on the road. We lost Davy in the Korean War. Still don't know what for. Don't matter anymore. No trees that just grow stronger. Oh, rivers grow wilder every day. Oh, people just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say hello in there. Hello. Me and Loretta don't talk much more. She sits and stares out the back door screen. All the news just repeats itself like some forgotten dream that we both seen. Someday I'll go and call her Broody. We work together at the factory. What do I say if he asks what's new? Nothing, what's with you? Nothing much to do. You know, trees that just grow stronger. Oh, rivers grow wilder every day. Oh, people just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say hello in there. Hello. So if you're walking down the street sometime, spot some hollow ancient eyes, please don't pass them by and stare like you just don't care. Say hello in there. Hello. Hello.
It's hello in there, Lou Giton playing John Prine here on Live Lunch. You want to do a legal smile before the break?
I can.
This is a song that you were telling me earlier. It doesn't mean what people think it does it?
No, and I didn't know that either. I thought it was about smoking pot. To be honest, and I think most people do. But I did see an interview with him where he said, yeah, a lot of people think that. He said, but actually, it's as he was growing up, he always had just such a different way of looking at things that he would look at something completely different than other people would, and he would see something and he would see the humor in it, and so he would smile, and people they don't know what he's smiling at, So he called it the illegal smile. But then he said later on, years later, he was performing on a television show, and I forget which show it was anyway. So he's playing the song. And then off to the side, there's a graphic of a marijuana leaf, and the camera kept zooming in on the marijuana leaf during the song. And so then everybody said, "Oh man, this song is about smoking pot or whatever," which I never knew. I just thought that too. But anyway, that's what the illegal smile is, So. When I woke up this morning, things were looking bad. Seemed like total silence was the only friend I had. Bowl of oatmeal tried to stare me down and won, and it was 12 o'clock before I realized I was having no fun. But fortunately, I had the key to escape reality, and you may see me tonight with an illegal smile It don't cost very much, but it'll last a long while. Won't you please tell the man I didn't kill anyone? No, I'm just trying to have me some fun. Last time I checked my bankroll, it was getting thin. Sometimes it seems like the bottom is the only place I've been. Chased a rainbow down a one-way street, dead end. And all my friends turned out to be insurance salesmen. Ah, but fortunately, I have the key to escape reality. And you may see me tonight with an illegal smile. It don't cost very much, but it lasts a long while. Won't you please tell the man I didn't kill anyone? No, I'm just trying to have me some fun. Well, I sat down in my closet with all my overalls, trying to get away from all the ears inside the wall. Dreamed the police heard everything I thought. What then? Well, I went to court and the judge's name was Hoffman. Ah, but fortunately, I have the key to escape reality. And you may see me tonight with an illegal smile. It don't cost very much, but it'll last a long while. Won't you please tell the man I didn't kill anyone? No, I'm just trying to have me some fun. Well done, hot dog fun. My sister's a nun.
It's hard to not have a smile of some sort when you hear that song. It's a legal smile, John Prine, done by Lou Giton. We'll be back with more music and conversation after this on Live Lunch here on Sounds Good.
In today's world, moment-to-moment updates are still necessary.
Each day can bring new changes to mandates, health news, politics, and more.
As you plan for your family and your life, WKMS can help you navigate it all.
We can bring you the news you need because listeners fund this radio service.
It's fall fundraising season, and you can choose how much to invest in your community's completely free access to this content when you click Donate today at WKMS.org.
This week on Science Friday, how your solar panels can help our climate crisis.
It's really important if we're going to make a dent in things like the total amount of emitted carbon that we make solar much more pervasive than it is now.
And why being bird brain saved these dinosaurs from extinction.
Birds have really complex, gigantic brains.
It's all on Science Friday from WNYC Studios. Coming up at 1 on Murray State's WKMS.
We appreciate support from Murray State's Cinema International presenting Minari this week, a sweeping story about what roots us. It follows a Korean-American family that moves to an Arkansas farm in search of the American dream. There is another free community show tomorrow evening at 7:30 in the Kerr Center. And thanks for support from Thoroughbred Spirits of Murray and Cellar Door Wine and Spirits of Murray, Draftonville, and Mayfield. Locally owned, all 4 locations offer a wide variety of craft beers, bourbons, and wines. There's also a Cellar Door app with online ordering for carryout or delivery. There is more information at cellardoorwineandspirits.com. You're listening to Live Lunch with Lou Giton here on this beautiful but hot Friday. Lou's playing some John Prine songs for us and telling quite a few John Prine stories. I wonder, did you learn anything about him that you didn't know, like as you were working through his songs, trying to figure out how you were going to do this program?
Yeah, actually, I learned quite a bit, yeah. I learned that the part about Roger Ebert. I learned the part about Hello in there, and several other ones like that. And this one that I'm about to do now, which is a big favorite, which is kind of a prank involved in the song.
What you going to play for us?
Dear Abby, which is always one of my favorites. I say one of my. I've got so many favorites, but it was one of my favorites.
Are you going to tell them about the prank?
You want to do it before or after the song?
Let's do it after.
Okay, I'll do the setup first. He was traveling. He was in Rome, and he picked up like the international newspaper. I guess back then it was kind of like the version of USA Today, where they have them in all the airports and everything. There's only 6 pages, and it was like international news, from around the world, and there was no sports, there was no stocks, there were no funnies, cartoons, but lo and behold, it did have Dear Abby. And so he said, well, isn't that a kick, And so he wrote the song at that point while he was in Rome. Dear Abby, my feet are too long. My hair's falling out and my rights are all wrong. My friends, they all tell me that I'm no friends at all. Won't you write me a letter? Won't you give me a call? Signed, Bewildered. Bewildered, you have no complaint. You are who you are and you ain't who you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Dear Abby, my fountain pen leaks. My wife hollers at me and my kids are all freaks. Each side I wake up on is the wrong side of bed. If it weren't so expensive, I wish I were dead. Signed, unhappy. Unhappy, you have no complaint. You are who you are and you ain't who you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Dear Abby, you won't believe this, but my stomach makes noises whenever I kiss. My girlfriend tells me that it's all in my head, but my stomach tells me to write you instead. Signed, Noisemaker. Noisemaker, you have no complaint. You are who you are and you ain't who you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Now my favorite verse. Dear Abby, well, I never thought that me and my girlfriend would ever get caught. We were sitting in the back seat just a shooting the breeze, with her hair up in curlers and her pants to her knees. Signed, just married. Just married, you have no complaint. You are who you are and you ain't who you ain't. So listen up, Buster, and listen up good. Stop wishing for bad luck and knocking on wood. Signed, Dear Abby.
Dear Abby by John Prine here, Lou Giton. So you want to tell them the punchline now?
The punchline is after that song came out and everything, one of his fans took that one verse about my stomach makes noises whenever I kiss and stuff, took the rhymes out of it, and added a few words and everything, and sent it to Dear Abby, and it actually appeared in the column. She suggested that he get professional help for it. And then, of course, after that happened, she was deluged with all these letters saying, "Ooh, you've been pranked,"
That's great.
I thought that was a great thing about it, too, yeah. So.
What else you want to play for us today?
I don't know. There's several. How many songs do you think I got left?
I bet you got 3.
Okay.
Unless one of them's American Pie.
No, I'll tell you what. I'll do this, and I may cut it short because there's 2 that I really want to do, and you know what those are.
Yep.
So. But I don't know if I got time to do Space Monkey or not. I'll do it. I'll try it there. This is the one that he was going to write a pre-chord love song with Peter Case, and it wound up going off the rails and turning into Space Monkey. Space Monkey, what you doing up there? When it's dark as a dungeon way up in the air. Come gather round, little monkeys, I'm the story I'll tell. About a brave young primate out of space knew him well. He was born at the top of a big old tree way back in 1953. He could swing through the jungle and hang by his toes till it took him to Russia, cause it could, I suppose. Dressed him up in a spacesuit and started to snow. Shot him off in a rocket where no man would go. Space monkey, what you doing up there? Why, it's dark as a dungeon way up in the air. There'll be no one to greet you when you get back home. No hammer or sickle, you'll be all on your own. Well, he had plenty of Cuban bananas and loads of Spam, but he found great difficulty in trying to open the can. One day he slipped on a banana peel and lost control. Spun out of orbit and out a black hole. It's been 4 decades now, that's 9 monkey years. That's a long time for a space monkey to confront all his fears. Space monkey, what you doing out there? Well, it's dark as a dungeon way up in the air. There'll be no one to greet you when you get back home. No hammer or sickle, you'll be all on your own. Space monkey, it's time to get real. Space race is over, now how does it feel? The Cold War's a heat wave, the Iron Curtain torn down. They rolled up the carpet in Space Monkey Town. Now Leningrad is Petersburg, and Petersburg's hell. For a card-carrying monkey with a story to tell. Well, the space monkey was reportedly last sighted about a half a block off a Red Square in a karaoke bar having a few drinks with some of his friends. There was a dog, that dog that flew Sputnik, and a blind, red-headed, one-legged parrot who had done some minor research for Dow Chemical. They were all drinking American vodka, imported all the way from Paducah, Kentucky. And reportedly they had their arms around each other's shoulders singing, "Those were the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end." Space monkey, there's nothing to do. We're better than living in a communist zoo. There'll be no one to greet you when you get back home. No hammer or sickle, you'll be all on your own. Space monkey.
I did not know they made vodka in Paducah.
I don't know, they make moonshine. But they do everywhere now, I guess.
What you got now?
The last album that he did, which I thought was really cool, When I Get to Heaven, which I thought was a real cool one too. Yeah. When I get to heaven, I'm gonna shake God's hand. I'm gonna thank him for more blessings than one man can stand. Then I'm gonna get a guitar and start a rock and roll band. Check into a swell hotel. Ain't the afterlife grand? Then I'm gonna get a cocktail, vodka and ginger ale, and I'm gonna smoke a cigarette that's 9 miles long. Gonna kiss that pretty girl on that tilt-a-whirl. Cause this old man's going to town. Then as God is my witness, I'm going back into show business. I'm gonna open up a nightclub called the Tree of Forgiveness and forgive everybody that's ever done me harm. Well, I might even invite a few choice critics, those syphilitic parasitics. Buy 'em a pint of Smithwick's and smother 'em with my charm. Cause I'm gonna get a cocktail, vodka and ginger ale. Yeah, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette that's 9 miles long. I'm gonna kiss that pretty girl on that tilt-a-whirl. Cause this old man's going to town. Yeah, when I get to heaven, I'm gonna take that wristwatch off my arm, because what are you gonna do with time after you bought the farm? Then I'm gonna go find my mom and dad and my good old brother Doug. Well, I bet him and cousin Jackie are still cutting the rug. I'm gonna find all my mama's sisters, because that's where all the love starts. I miss them like crazy, bless their little hearts. And I always remember these words that my dad said. He said, buddy, when you're dead, you're a dead peckerhead. Cause I'm gonna get a cocktail, vodka and ginger ale, then I'm gonna smoke a cigarette that's 9 miles long. I'm gonna kiss that pretty girl on that tilt-a-whirl. Cause this old man's going to town. Cause this old man's going to town.
All right, we're having so much fun, Lou. We're gonna do something we've never done. I'm gonna go just a little past the top of the hour so you can get this very last song in. I know that you really, really wanted to play it.
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. This is the last song that John Prine ever wrote. It's called I Remember Everything. I've been down this road before. I remember every tree, every single blade of grass holds a special place for me. I remember every town, every hotel room, every single song I sang on a guitar out of tune. I remember everything, things I can't forget. The way you turned and smiled at me on the night that we first met. I remember every night, your ocean eyes of blue. How I miss you in the morning light, like the roses miss the dew. I've been down this road before, alone as I can be. Careful not to let my past come sneaking up on me. Got a future in my happiness, no regrets are very few. Sometimes a little tenderness was the best that I could do. I remember everything, things I can't forget. Swimming pools of butterflies that slipped right through the net. I remember every night, your ocean eyes are blue. How I miss you in the morning light, like the roses miss the dew. How I missed you in the morning light, like the roses missed the dew.
Lou, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for coming by today and playing all these John Prine songs. What time are you playing tonight at the Blues Festival?
7:30 tonight at the Blues Festival, and we'll be doing an hour set, and then we'll be followed by the legendary Shack Checkers. Hey, thank you guys for having me, and especially putting up with my voice and my Uber medications that I'm on right now, trying to get over this. My head's got swimming butterflies in it, but I didn't want to miss it because I love John Prine so much, you know.
It's always a pleasure, and if you enjoyed this, I guess next Thursday night, is it at 7? Is that when the...
Actually, it's at 6.
At 6, okay.
6 to 6:45, live streamed on the McCracken County Library's Facebook page, and we'll try to do a 45-minute show. Hopefully my voice will be a little bit better by then.
Well, you sounded great, Lou. Thanks so much for coming by, and let's do this again sometime.
Let's do it.
This is WKMS-FM HD Murray, WKMD HD Madisonville, and WKMT Fulton with news and music at WKMS.org. We're part of the educational mission of Murray State University. Some isolated showers and thunderstorms this afternoon, otherwise mostly sunny and hot with a high near 90. We're under a heat advisory until 7 o'clock tonight. Clear this evening, a low near 70, about a 20% chance of some Saturday showers and thunderstorms, otherwise sunny and hot again with a high near 90. I'm Tracy Ross. Thanks so much for Lou Giton coming by and entertaining us today, and thank you all for joining us on Live Lunch. Science Friday will be coming up in just a few moments after news from Kentucky Public Radio. Have a great